It was 6 months ago when Jade came out and just focused on the Railjack. I see, I see. Boltor Prime was my favorite when Soma and Boltor were like neck and neck for the top 2 best weapons in the game. That was a long time ago. But I did prefer the Boltor and its flight time over the Soma. If you haven't tried Duviri Circuit, it's worth trying. And depending on the frames, I can carry. My Railjack is the best of the best, so I don't know how Duviri works. Let's do it. You want to do some Duviri? Duviri Steel Path. You have to click on Duviri Steel Path if you have Steel Path available. And then you have to, you know, click on it. It'll give you options. For me, the options that I chose are Burston and Karnon and Vasto and Karnon. So if you want to try out the Burston and Karnon, you can get it through the current available circuit. I would commit, so I got about an hour left in Warframe. I would commit to get to rank 5 in circuit with you. But I will warn you, it's a grind. I don't know how much time you have. It's quite a grind. Oh, Trinity. That means I can support very well. Kuvanoker is busted, it's probably going to carry me. Looks like I need to complete the normal circuit to be able to do it in Steel Path. Okay,
Operator,
let's do normal circuit.
Are you enjoying the view?
Mesa. Mesa, Chroma, or Atlas? Yeah. Atlas got a buff. All of the frames, and this is shoutouts to Turtle and Critex for explaining a little bit to me. The exalted weapons on Warframes got a buff. And so, or got a rework, I guess. So Atlas is a little bit stronger than it used to be. I camp very heavily on Mesa, so I pick Mesa. If you want a Mesa build, I'd be happy to share mine with you. Sure. This Mesa build is me being carried by Black Mage Shadow and Critnex. Here's a copy of the link. This build is very strong. Duviri doesn't allow you to like edit your mod configuration, so if you want to have a specific build for the frames available, it's good to go to Duviri's like HUD and then click on the Warframe icon and the weapons icon so that you can decipher which weapons and Warframes you're going to use. I don't think it gives you the parts to create Mesa. I have some Mesa parts if you want them. I think the blueprint and something else. There are some expensive parts for Mesa that I won't be able to give you because I need to keep those. I think Mesa Prime is much easier to obtain than the normal Mesa. I forget which mission is required to do normal Mesa. You don't have to play Mesa, you can select from these frames. I'm going to be playing Trinity because my Trinity build is very strong. And everybody's just going to have infinite. Oh, Mutilus, it's Salad V. So I don't have to farm Salad. Yeah, Salad V is not. I mean, I'm not a fan of farming Salad V.
Is not always true.
Whatever, just grab whatever weapons. The only weapon that's going to carry me is the Kuva anyway. Kuva Nucor anyway. I guess we keep this. You have Discord to talk like VC? I do, but I'm very guarded. I'm very protective of my community. We have some very interesting and intriguing individuals here that I want to respect. So it's going to take a while for anybody to get to know me before I give them access. But I do apologize. It is inconvenient to communicate in this kind of like one-way version of me chatting and you typing. Apologies for the inconvenience. I understand because I have a lot of questions about Duviri. Yeah, I can answer some. I will admit, though, Duviri is the... It's one of the last things that I got myself into as I'm getting towards Legend 5. I was surprised to learn that players, like... Okay, so there was a player, you know, there was viewer on Twitch for me when I returned to Warframe, and they found out, you know, whatever, I'm I'm a returning veteran, I guess. And I asked them like why they play the game after capping, and they showed me all the stuff they have in their Dorma Zone and their Orbiter, and I was really shocked. I was like, damn, this player has everything. It's crazy. And I was like, why do you play the game? And they said to help returning players get back into the game. I was like, you're trolling. They're like, nope. And I was like, okay. So what Mage was able to tell me is lore about the Hex, lore about the Man in the Wall, lore about Duviri, and just, you know, the Intrades. There's lore that is starting to come together in a very, very, like, peculiar way for Warframe, which I'm excited about. I'm enthusiastic about it. Because in the past, like, Warframe basically felt like a 5-year-old spinning lies and, you know, continuing to make lies after those lies in order to just answer questions. Like, Warframe was shit in terms of canon and lore, in my opinion. Now that it's coming together, Duviri really explains and kind of opens up a lot of things. Any questions you might have about Duviri, if I have answers, I'll let you know. And if not, I'll tell you I don't know. Feel free to ask any questions you might have about Duviri. I've learned a lot over my time. Duviri is where you get Koalabebop, and it's where the Drifter has spent a lot of time. I don't know how much you care about spoilers, etc., but it can also help with lore if you care about them. Are these intrinsics like the one for Railjack? 100%. Do you have more questions about how the missions in Zariman works, like Void Armageddon and Cascade? Cool, shoot. Yeah, I've learned a bit about that as well. So there's something called level cap, which again I've only played once. Shoutouts to Critnex. And so, apparently, if you want to do level cap, what typically becomes, I guess, or what has become optimal within the community is to have a player in the squad that has a mod drop chance booster. That sounds like a ridiculous thing to care about, but it matters apparently. And so having a mod drop chance booster enables players to maximize the farm there. And level cap is done to farm a particular group of things, and I don't know exactly what those particular things are. But level cap happens in the Zeramen in Void Cascade, so that is one interesting fun fact there. Void Armageddon, in my opinion, is the worst mission in Warframe. Changed my mind. I think it needs a little bit of a reworking. I don't think it's very enjoyable. I don't think it's very... I think it's poorly designed. So I avoid Armageddon like the plague whenever possible. It is also the most failed mission type in Zeramen. But don't quote me on that. Void Armageddon Rotation C is where you get an item called the Hespar Blade. It's for a scythe, and it is valued at 150 plat on market at the moment. Outside of that particular item, I don't see a reason to do Void Armageddon. The Void Cascade is the mission type that's used for level cap. Level cap makes it so that the enemies reach very high levels, and in order to survive, you need shield gating. Shield gating has become optimal over health gating, which is an old meta, and because shield gating is so strong, and damage 2.0, and the way that status works is a little bit different, it's better to rely on shield gating for effective HP than it is to rely on armor gating, health gating. Excavation.
Not to be content with merely doing enough. Secrets lie buried deep within the Undercroft. The Paradox provides the means to extract them. You must protect the excavators and keep them powered.
In this area, we have these little blue items like hanging out here whenever we do circuit, and so at the beginning of each new mission spawn, it's common for players to go running around to try to find the 3 fragments so you can get a new decree. Decrees are very busted. Decrees give your weapons a very overpowered feeling, but in Duviri Circuit, where the enemies continuously scale, it's very helpful. It doesn't feel as overpowered as it feels useful and necessary in order to manage the game state.
Over there.
The 2 most important resources I would suggest in Duviri are Pathos Clamp and Koalabebop's Bane. But I think Koalabebop's Bane is only really useful when you're trying to build Koalabebop or Rauta. Outside of that, it's not that useful.
Bye-bye.
In Duviri Experience, there's a special set of weapons that your Drifter uses to manage the game state, melees, and a unique pistol called the Sirocco. Don't know too much more beyond that, but without a focus on the weapons and the style that you want to play. Most people use melee. I prefer to use pistol. So the decrees have to associate with your style. If you want to use your melee, there are plenty of decrees available to help maximize the impact that your melees have when managing the Duviri Experience. And Duviri Experience is kind of an open world content, where the players group up and do kind of random side quests in order to build their decrees to eventually manage better the final fight with the overworld. If you have any other specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. The best of my ability, Duviri is one of my weakest forms of content, but I have learned a lot about it.
I sense another Void treasure.
So once you finish getting to rank 10 here, you'll be able to do Steel Path on your own and farm the Incarnons whenever you like see fit.
Extractor deploying.
En serio? No chance. Target down.
Void treasure location established.
For Duviri Circuit, especially Steel Path, I rely very heavily on my operator. My operator is busted, bro. And again, this is shoutouts to Critnex because there is considered a meta loadout. So this loadout, this amp is very crucial. I don't know if you can see my screen, but my secondary fire sends off like a chain, and it tends to one-tap enemies even that are like level 300, level 400 enemies inside Steel Path Duviri Circuit. So if you have an inclination to grind towards the meta amp configurations, it'll save you a lot of time and energy when your weapons don't cut it in Duviri Circuit Steel Path, because you can still contribute effectively and deal big damage numbers to the enemies with the operator. Operator becomes kind of busted in Duviri Circuit. And sometimes like the weapons are just trash, and so you're not really going to get good weapons. And so it's worth it to invest into the amp so that you can have like an easier way to spam through Duviri Circuit. A more meaningful progression whenever you want to grind towards that rank 10 instead of having to rely on operator, or sorry, instead of having to rely on Warframe or weapons exclusively. To micromanage the game state, operator can be big busted if you get the right configuration, and especially arcanes for the amp.
A new extraction site may now be claimed.
Also, when doing anything in Zeraman, it's important to consider that Void Plume Pinion are the most sought after, highest standing conversion Void Plumes, and to farm those, especially if you end up having to do it solo, you want to bring Maturai along with you. Maturai will allow you to solo the Void Angel if you need to. Without Maturai, and without a decent configuration for the amp, it becomes a little difficult to complete the Void Angel.
This Tenno asset is destined to be destroyed by hostile forces.
10.
Intervene and change its fate.
Once you complete the normal Duviri Circuit, then you unlock the Steel Path, and you don't ever have to do the normal one again. But it forces you at first to escape from the standard version first in order to start grinding the Steel Path. If you want to have an easy time in Duviri Circuit Steel Path, I highly recommend going through each and every one of the frames that you have available and selecting a loadout. Well, selecting my loadout for leveling Warframes as a base, and then adjusting it from there if you really, want a specific Duviri like loadout for your frame. Enemy Sense, Steel Fiber, Vitality, Hunter's Adrenaline, Prime Sure-Footed, or Handspring, and then Arcane Guardian, Arcane Grace rank 5. That's what I use. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. It just means that you don't get one-tapped, because in Duviri Steel Path, things hit like really hard, and the enemies become kind of overwhelming. even though my build is like a foundational loadout for health gating, it still does the job. How do you get the weapons? Let's read this. And how do you get the weapons from the base in Duviri? What do you mean by base? There's like a fire range in the base. Okay. Oh, I see. I see. If you're talking about the weapons behind Teshin, those weapons require that you either pay plat to buy them to use in Duviri Experience and obtain their blueprint, which needs a separate crafting, or you can use a resource called Pathos Clamps.
Come on. I'll be here.
If you could only have one weapon from the Kuva Lich set, I highly recommend it be the Kuva Nuclear. It's strictly a better like Atomos. I never use it, but I'm super based for the old weapons. I just love them. Atomos Kuva Nuclear. It is the best weapon from the Kuva Lich cycle, and it's a big chain beam weapon.
If only for now. Leave now or later. But leave you must, for the Undercroft is inexhaustible. The longer you can keep this Undercroft manifestation active, the greater the gains for the other side.
Regardless of the mission type, I can give you 75% mitigation, overshields, and energy, but I can't defend the objective very well. Got about 45 minutes left, and then I gotta go whip up something to eat. Need to go grocery shopping. I wish I grew vegetables. I need to start considering how to do that. Like, if I could just grow vegetables, that'd be great. Is this how the bursting sounds? I'm gonna see a tutorial to how to get it. Okay. I don't know. Are you using, so does it give you the Burst and Incarnum? I think it might give you the option to use Burst and Incarnum, no? Is that the Burstin? Nope. Burstin is like a, it has triple shot each time, right? Yeah, I haven't heard what the Burstin Incarnon looks like. And so, like, as you go through using Incarnon weapons, what happens is it charges a meter, and then you can activate a secondary fire, I think. And it converts it into the Incarnon form of the weapon. I was experiencing that with the Boltor. So, charges, and then you activate with the secondary fire. And then you get to feel what the Incarnon form is.
life support.
Sayonara, pendejo.
You have 60 seconds. Life support is limited. It must not be squandered.
So you can buy the contracts for
Life support replenished.
should be okay to AFK a little bit. So let's check it out here. So you can go to contracts on market and you can search for Kuva. Okay, got it. So go to Kuvalich's, Kuva Nucor, and you can buy this from another player by using the schematic there. And you can, you know, get the full ephemera or whatever kind of valence factor that you want. The higher the valence factor, the more expensive it gets. It caps out at 60 valence. And you can tier it up if you keep getting more of the same contract. Each contract requires you to assassinate a Kuvalich or Sister of Parvos, or collect them as contracts to be traded to other players, or use as adversaries like on the Railjack. Right now, I am ambitioning towards having an adversary of each faction, infested Corpus and Greenery, as collected contract adversaries on my Railjack as crews. Can I show you again? Sure. Let's get out of a survival. So here you can go to market and you can click on contracts. If you have a minimized window, it'll be here. If you have a full screen window, it'll be at the top right. And it'll say contracts with a handshake. And you can put in all the specifics that you want. And you can make it have an ephemera if you want. And this will increase the price if you get it with an ephemera. And if you look for a specific element, that will also increase the cost. I went through the trouble of making sure all of my Kuva weapons were magnetic, because magnetic in terms of the endgame is the best possible combination that the player could use if they had to pick one. In the Hex, there's a way to change this elemental combination if you so choose. Ideally, you want a Kuva Nucor with 60% valence so that you don't have to level it up anymore. You just have like the maximum possible value for the Kuva Nucor's like weapon damage. But that's entirely up to you. Having a Kuva Nucor versus not having a Kuva Nucor is a very drastic difference. Like, it's a very strong weapon. I don't use it, but I don't really care too much about power creep. And I eventually will to a point, but even then, it's not as fun to use power crept weapons in my experience than it is to use kind of lower tier stuff. It is very strong though. Very, very strong indeed.
If the Void Angels break through the
just a better
wall,
Atomos.
their master will be freed. Do not allow that to happen. Fight on.
I know it depends on the Warframe. The element will have the weapon right. If you're using the Warframe to act as progenitor, then facts. If you're purchasing the contract from another player, it comes with a very like specific elemental configuration to begin with, and you have to be mindful of that when you make the search on market and eventually make the purchase from the player. You have to make sure that the contract for the adversary has the elemental combination that they advertise and that you're seeking. I recommend magnetic, but you really can do whatever you want with it. And when it comes to Railjack adversaries, so far, based on my research, the best possible elemental combination to have for a adversary, Kuvalich or Sister of Parvos, is Radiation because of the functionality of their abilities. Seeing as that every other possible elemental configuration is weaker on the Railjack than Radiation, Radiation is optimal.
Scratch one.
So if you wanted to have your Kuvalich end up as an adversary, you'd have to buy the contract from another player or farm the Sister or the Lich with a Progenitor. In which case, like you said, like you mentioned, the Progenitor will then affect the elemental configuration on the adversary. And then, when given the option in the end to execute and take the weapon from them, or save them and turn them into a contract of your own / adversary for the Railjack or on call, then you have to make that that defining choice when that time comes.
¿Qué onda, friend? We all good? Fingers on triggers!
A breach has been sealed. Excellent work.
I need to understand what is the best percentage for the weapon. The best percentage is 60%. That is the maximum. If you get anything lower than 60%, every subsequent contract or execute of that weapon type can be used to increase that percentage, which is otherwise considered, in terms of nomenclature, to be the valence factor of the weapon. The maximum cap for valence factor is 60%.
The rupture is closed. The paradox stabilizes.
How'd we do?
Smallest breach in the wall.
The higher the valence factor on the contract listed on market, the higher the price point you should expect to pay.
That will not now
If you just wanted to get a Kuvanuko right away, regardless of elemental combination, and you just found one for 25%, valence factor, or somewhere around 30%, it's going to be cheap. It's going to be like 25 to 50 platinum to purchase that contract with the player. The higher it gets towards 60, the more expensive the players will charge. Which is annoying, but whatever.
I do not know how it found its way into the Undercroft, but it
Time gate is the real
cannot
gate.
be allowed to report back. Avoid the beams. Strike where the foe's armor is weakest.
The hell am I out of? Oh, I'm out of ammo. I'm out of ammo. What is this weapon that I have?
Do not
Sporifix?
hesitate to attack when an opening presents itself. Evade. You can attack later. opportunity. You have triggered its defensive precepts. Find where it has fled to. Now, strike while it's down. Something is shielding it from harm. Find out what. Support. Change your focus.
Ow, my face.
They're on us! Target's down.
Let this victory serve as a warning. Duviri is defended. Will you lay your sword aside and rest? Or fight on?
Kill. Kill. Wait. Enemy's feeling ballsy.
In Steel Path, especially, it's very common to see players just kind of skip the objective at the beginning and like bounce around, and so it's typically on the outskirts of the map, and by being in the operator forum, you can just kind of run around, and similar to finding caches like sabotage, you can hear them and you can also see them. They're just scattered out, and each different map or tile set has them typically in like the same position, but it's different per tile set. But if you just scour the outskirts of the map, you'll find them, and you'll be able to hear them. I got you. Come on, you got yourself.
Staggered, but not yet defeated. Persist.
So decrees are better. Decrees are better each time you level them up, but it's better to re-roll until you find what you're looking for. If you prefer melee playstyle, or if you prefer like rifle playstyle, or like hit scan weapon style playstyle, then you have to decide which decrees you want. Reroll is best at first. Scouting. So it's hard to explain it in this context, because in Duviri experience I prefer the option that says your next shot deals 100% extra damage after you reload, or after your first shot. That's what it is. Your first shot deals an extra 100% damage. That can scale up to 400%. And when using the Sirocco, which is a pistol exclusive to Operator and Drifter, it's easier to manage the Duviri experience, where you're killing a bunch of like Teshin looking trash mobs. And so I like to shoot, reload, because there's a reload mechanic for the Sirocco, which makes its first shot very powerful. And so depending on the weapons that you're using, if you have a good primary, secondary, then maybe you can choose decrees which increase damage. Probably the most powerful decree is the one that increases damage to your enemy by 10%. So there's a decree that says incrementally, or enemies take 10% more damage with each shot. So that's a really, really powerful decree for rifles. Another really good one is the one that spreads toxin damage by headshot, and so each one of these will level up. Shots that deal an extra 80% corrosive is also very strong, and so I always get this if I'm using primary, secondary. You'll get a feel for it over time. The decrees are pretty important. As with Duviri Steel Path Circuit, like the enemies are going to get kind of out of control, hard to deal with, and so you need at least like one weapon with a lot of decrees on it in order to manage the game state as it scales.
Don't leave me hanging, comprendes? En serio? No chance. Target down.
Found a crucible. Now, liberate the necessary amphors from your enemies. Combine electricity, cold.
No hay problema. They won't be giving us any more trouble.
I will be getting out of here in about 20 minutes or so. It was nice to meet you, nice to play with you, and I'm happy to see you getting into Duviri a little bit. I know it's overwhelming. I avoided it for a while. It's just like it's a problem. There's just too much information about this mission type. So yeah, good stuff. GG's.
Elemental force. Create another.
Sure thing.
Nice. Keep looking. It's a good habit to get used to finding all of them. In Steel Path, the players tend to like ignore the objective and go get them.
Even in the Undercroft, toxin and cold create a viral elemental force.
I feel like there's no wrong questions, only terrible answers.
Do what you gotta.
But my favorite answer is I don't know. I don't know. Maybe? Sorry, I dropped my blessing. Sometimes I think I'm making dumb questions. No, there's no dumb questions. So there's many different ways to learn things. I respect very highly somebody who has the flexibility to teach anyone anything. And I do strive for that within myself. It's not easy. It just forces the teacher to know more and have more flexible ways to explain things. But there are no wrong questions. I think there are wrong answers, and there are no dumb questions. I feel like there's only dumb answers.
Leave you must, for the Undercroft is inexhaustible.
When we're learning, it's expected that we fail and make mistakes, and creating an environment where people are more accepting of their limitations and encouraged to fail is the best environment that a person can possibly be learning in. So I feel like people who spend too much time criticizing and being harsh with people who are new is a very toxic, problematic thing for society in general. I learn best when I just kind of fail and go. And so maybe not everybody is that way. Some people are quicker to learn than others. I can be very slow to learn myself. Just depends. So don't trip, potato chip.
Never knew what hit 'em.
An extractor requires power. extraction site. An extractor requires power. Enemies are assaulting your excavator.
For as powerful as the Kuva Nucor is, it runs out of ammo pretty quickly. There are ways around this though, outside of Duviri. And even in Duviri, I guess you could build like an ammo mutation mod.
The excavator is almost destroyed. In place. Avoid treasure has been located.
Incoming!
Lucky Trinity is available. Trinity is the most supportive, maybe the most supportive frame in the Duviri Circuit. 75% damage mitigation can't be overlooked. It's very powerful. And if a player has a decent build for Trinity, they should be able to manage 75% permanently. The only time you've gone down are when I've dropped the Blessing. So that's kind of lucky. Gonna be really strong.
They won't be giving us any more trouble.
If it froze.
Here they come!
Extractor in place. Avoid treasure has been located. Extractor deploying.
Saddle up.
I'll go prioritize yours, I guess.
Excavator under attack.
Blood pressure 0.
Excavator is severely damaged. Protect it or lose it. Extractor charge expended. Your excavator is on the brink of destruction. Excavator lost. Your work wasted. A new void treasure may now be extracted. An extractor is out of power.
That's what you get.
much. If you choose, you may now leave. It is my duty to make extraordinary demands of exceptional people.
Now, I will admit though,
History dictates
when it comes to the archetype of
this
teacher
Tenno
that can
asset
teach
was
in all
destroyed
styles and
and
also
raised
is
it back
like
to the
extraordinarily
Let us rewrite that event.
and obviously excellent,
The winds
he is very
blow
rare.
fiercely. The rain
Striving for
will
that
not
doesn't make me
relent.
that, but
Still,
it's
the
worth
stout
hanging
bow
on to people that are
stands.
like that. Learn a lot from them. Learn a lot from them. And, like, learning makes life a lot easier. The more that we can kind of maintain a growth mindset, life just gets easier and easier and easier. Although some may argue it's harder first, perhaps. Really healthy place to be, having a positive outlook when things get bad, and keeping close to people that are always learning or trying to grow. Strong. Very strong. Hungry. Feel hungry. I think I have to go at wave 5 cleared, maybe?
Yourself. A fresh wave
I have to get some
approaches.
food, I have to take a break, and I'm gonna get ready to switch over to Guild Wars. So I don't think we'll be able to take you to wave 10, but we got this. And when it gets difficult, you can always just re-roll it and get new players in, so you don't really have to grind it out. It'll keep resetting the scaling on the enemies, and you'll keep resetting the pool of players that you get to play with. Because I keep running out of ammo on my new core, I can't really kill stuff. So I need you to spam as hard as possible. Spam it up!
Fingers on triggers.
When it comes to abilities, like, there are special decrees that give you, like, they're like corrupted mods. They give you a negative stat and a positive
The
stat.
enemy musters
You
for
can
a
get up
fresh
to,
assault.
like, well, you can get 600
Line.
power strength. So if you're playing Volts and you want to spam your discharge
Sayonara, Bin
and
Bin.
use that as your damage, then you can if you get that decree special. I think it says decrease your crit chance and increase the crit chance of others. So if you see those decrees and you're playing something like a Trinity, you can be more supported that way. It's cool to have damage, but also there are certain frames that just excel in dealing damage in Duviri and in Duviri Circuit. It also depends on build too.
Like ashes, the enemy has been scattered to the void.
GG!
This
We got maybe
struggle
9
goes
more
on
minutes.
for
Let's
as
see if we
long
can
as
get
you
you there. I don't know if we're going to be able to get you to rank 10.
Your presence is enough to hold the paradox at bay. but the
So at the beginning it's a good habit to go
environment
searching for these
itself
decrees.
will
It
fight
just
to
makes the
choke you
game
out.
easier to manage as well. Having the decrees makes the game a lot easier than not having them. Get this one. Coming.
I'll be here.
After rolling, increased critical damage multiplier. Very good. And the cool thing about it is, like, your bias will be different than mine. And either way, the more that we get decrees, like, the more power crept we get, and the easier it becomes to manage the scaling that happens. After every rotation of the mission, the enemies get higher scaling.
Órale, one down.
I think we have some Chinese food. I think we have any breakfast food anymore. I'll have to
Only
check.
60 seconds remain.
Easy kill. Sure thing. It's getting real.
Life support is inbound.
Scratch one.
Life support will be scarce. Do not waste it. Your life support expires in 30 seconds. Systems charged with life support. Systems charged with life support.
No hay problema.
I would be dealing more damage if I sacrificed a mod from my build and put on ammo mutation. Go through ammo so quickly on a new core.
You have 60 seconds.
If it's a defense mission, we should probably go. I'm not able to defend whatever this is going to be. If it's exterminate, should be okay. Void flood, that works.
I advise you.
This is my last one, then I gotta go.
Merely doing enough. The paradox has drawn void angels to besiege the Undercroft. Undo what their
Thanks for the help.
claws
Anytime,
have done.
GG.
Or Duviri may fall to something worse, even than Thrax.
I was taught always to pay it forward. I get a lot of help from a lot of people. Life is easier when we help each other.
Seal the breaches.
Life gets very hard when we stay isolated, I think. So, thanks for hanging out. GG, GG. And get some food, and then we're gonna come back and play some Guild Wars.
Ready when you are.
Alright, got him.
Enemy down.
Operator form becomes very important in Duviri Steel Path circuit. So if you don't have a strong amp or operator configuration, it's worth considering. You don't need it, but it's very powerful. Sometimes weapons just don't cut it, and when they don't, then having a strong operator amp makes it more manageable, especially in solo situations.
The breach has been sealed. Excellent work. Fight on. Close the ruptures as you would staunch the wounds of a comrade. The rupture is closed. The paradox stabilizes.
Where you at? I see you.
Get bags. Something on fire. We're in trouble.
Half the time this run, I've been out of ammo on the new core, so I've not been able to just like kill everything. I thought the new core was going to carry me. I guess without ammo mutation for at least circuit, because we don't have mods for companions like vacuum or whatever the ammo type is for our secondaries. There's a mod, I forget what it is, for carrier, I believe, that increases ammo. But without that, it just feels kind of hopeless trying to use this weapon here. Noted.
If the Void Angels break through the wall, their master will be freed. Do not allow that to happen.
Triggers on triggers. Got it. No ISOs. I was getting lonely anyway.
The enemy has been held at bay. Congratulations
GG.
are in order. While you walk in other spaces,
And taking the time to explain a couple things.
remember,
I get carried a lot on my stream.
Duviri is
And so,
real.
yeah, big shout outs to
Executed.
Mage, Matt, Kudnex, Yanni. There's a lot of people who've helped me with a lot of things. It's good to pay it forward. Good habit.